Welcome to our interview with Tracie Laliberte. She is a dog enthusiast in every sense of the word. She's a practicing animal naturopath, a handler of therapy dogs. She works in every aspect of her family-owned full-service kennel. She's a breeder, handler, and conditioner of dogs, a former AKC licensed judge, a former private behavior consultant, a former canine good citizen evaluator, an award-winning writer on the subject of dogs, and as if that isn't enough, she is also a communications professor at the Rhode Island College. Thank you for sitting down with us today, Tracie.
Well, thank you for having me.
How and when did your obsession with dogs begin?
Well, believe it or not, my obsession with dogs began when I was 9 years old. My 5th grade math teacher raised golden retrievers. And one afternoon, she asked me after class if I'd like to go to a dog show with her. And, you know, being a young child who liked dogs, I said, sure, why not? So I went to a match with my math teacher, and I took a dog in the ring, and I won. And I was so excited that that began a whole lifetime of showing dogs.
And did you continue to be involved with showing dogs, you know, throughout your youth?
I did. My family got a show dog for me. Our first show dog was actually a Doberman Pinscher, which was much too large for me. I was this little tiny 13-year-old. And so they actually ended up getting me a Lhasa Apso to show, which was a little kind of a little mop-looking dog. Was a good fit for me. I showed my dogs throughout my youth. We bred them, we had puppies. I learned to groom and became involved in every aspect of the show world.
Let's talk about your formal education. How have dogs factored into your pursuit of knowledge?
Well, when I graduated from high school, I went into the family business, and it was pretty productive and it was exciting for me. But then I was longing to get a formal education, so I was working in the grooming salon at full time when I decided to go back to college. And believe it or not, the dogs kind of factored into my education twofold. When I was an undergraduate, I was working 70 hours a week at the kennel and going to school at night. So I'd go to school 4 nights a week, and I would study during the day in between grooming dogs. I used to figure out how much a class would cost me in terms of how many poodles it would take to groom, to pay for my tuition and pay for books. So I'd do the math, like 15 poodles equals books this semester. During the course of my work in the day, I had books on the counter, and I would study in between grooming and to prepare for class at night. And I'd go into classes at night, and oftentimes I'd open my books and like tufts of dog hair would fall on the floor. My friends would see these little poodle hair on the floor. As I got to, when I went to my master's level, I decided to actually study dogs as part of my thesis and into my doctorate. And what that became was a matter of getting every class I took, I would get the course material, I would look at the syllabus, I would see what books were required for the course. If it was a philosophy course, I'd go online, I'd get the books for the class, and then I'd find out if there were any books that were on the same topic that had to do with dogs. So basically, I'd get double the books for the class, and I would write a paper having to do with dogs and relating it to the course material.
Looking back, who has been the most influential in your life with dogs?
Well, I would have to say it'd be my family. My mom and my dad, they gave me all the tools I needed or I would need to have a life that was involved with dogs. They taught me about good work ethic. They taught me about commitment, dedication, following through. Like modeling after them would be, I would say, has really strongly influenced what it takes to have a life that is dedicated to dogs. Because as you know, it's a lot of work. When you close the door at the end of the day, you still have, living, breathing dogs to take care of. So you have to really be committed to it.
And what has been your proudest moment or accomplishment?
Well, you might think it was all the letters after my name, or you might think it was the great awards I've won, winning Westminster in 1983 and then winning Crufts in 1984. But my proudest accomplishments have always been working with the dogs, taking a dog that people want to throw away because it's no good to show, or they say is untrainable, and then finding a way to somehow shape that into a success story. My very proudest accomplishment, and don't laugh because this is quite funny, has been teaching my rescue dog to balance a bone on her nose.
Proudest moment.
Proudest moment. She is obnoxious in every sense of the word, is motivated by food, and to teach this dog to hold the bone on her nose until I tell her to take it is hugely.
So she won't touch it until
she won't touch it.
You have a nickname for her.
That is my belly beast. She's my belly beast, yeah.
Let's talk about your Kindle book, From the Desk of a Dog Diva.
How
did the diva bark to life?
Oh, well, believe it or not, when I was a PhD student on campus, I would go to class with all my dog books, and of course my classmates would all kind of laugh at me, thinking I was going to go away because, taking classes with really, really focus people on, from the Navy War College, they would see this dog person and be like, what is she doing here? This is crazy. But, in the true spirit of a dog person, I'm not one that gives up easily. And I also had this affinity for fashion. So they soon learned that I was the dog girl, and they could ask me any dog questions they had. And so I'd walk across campus in these crazy high heels, and so they'd joke that I was kind of this diva. So that's how the nickname came to life. And believe it or not, they would say, they gave me any topic, any subject, they would say to me, the word soup, for example, I would be able to tell a story or somehow relate it to dogs. So believe it or not, that's how she came to life. And I began writing a column for one of the local newspapers in town about 7 years ago. And each time I wrote a column, it would be on a different subject. I would relate to the subject of dogs, but a different topic on the subject of dogs. And that's actually how the book came together.
So tell me a little bit more about the articles in the book.
Well, the articles in the book basically are from the newspaper column. They range on everything from dog nutrition to dog care to training to current events. There are articles written about why dogs chew on their own poo, to how to cut toenails, or the story of the first family's acquisition of the Portuguese water dogs. So the topics, they vary. There's a lot of humor involved. There's a lot of personal experience involved. And actually, if you read the book, you can chronicle major events in my own life because I would relate that to dogs as well.
Now, when did you become interested in dog communication?
Well, believe it or not, it all started when I was an undergraduate, and I was taking a psychology course, and I read a book called Dog Psychology. And the book was fascinating because what it did was it introduced me to what the origins of the dog was, where they came from. Did they come from jackals or wolves or dingoes or coyotes? What was the story of how dogs came to be? And then it talked about getting into the dog's mind. And so I kind of made a connection with that because at the time I had a dog that had a few mental issues, and I thought, well, I could learn more about what he was trying to say, because I think most people don't understand that one of the biggest problems with our desire to understand dogs is that we like to apply the human understanding of communication to dog behavior. And oftentimes what the dog is telling us is not what we think it is. It's how they communicate, and we misunderstand what they're saying. So that's how I kind of learned to find out what the dog is really trying to say by how it's behaving or what it's doing.
So what's next for Tracie, Dog Diva?
Well, I'm thinking I'm going to throw on my feather boa, and I'm going to go out. I'd like to produce a DVD on dog communication. I give lectures around the local community to public libraries and to community groups, as well as private people in private home settings. I'd like to produce a DVD for that. I'm in the process of making my Kindle book into a hardcover book. I'd love to do a book tour with that and learn something new every day about dogs.
Thank you for spending some time with us today. I wish you continued success in your next venture. Find out more about Tracie on our website, www.infinidaddog.com. Until next time, have a great day.
Bark on.
Bark on.